Oh my God, huge news on the baby front. I'm so sorry to everybody who does not want to hear baby baby thoughts. Oh. Big news on the baby front. I think Elle's going to be going to daycare here in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We got in off a wait list, which is hilarious because we were on it for fucking forever. Okay. We are making modular frames. Let's go. Now we just need to see if we're making them at the right rate. Nice. I know, right? It worked out really perfectly. Megan and I, neither one of us was like, I was a little bit more sold on the idea of daycare than Megan was. But neither one of us was super sold on it. And then we had a kind of rough period and we were like, oh man, it'd be nice if daycare, and then daycare called and was like, you're off the wait list. And I'm like, oh baby. Oh baby. I will pay that money. There'll be a lifetime of opportunities to bond that she'll remember even better. Oh, Steven. This is why I like 5 months old way better. Currently, I can take Elle. She has the neck strength now that like a lot of the time what we're doing is she's like either laying on her back on the playmat playing with stuff. And recently what we've started doing is I can pick her up and like I'm laying on my back and we can like do airplane. Like I can lift her up and like move her around and like give her a kiss, move her around. And she loves that shit. And she giggles at it. And I'm like, this is way better. You laugh. You are, you are like, we're having a like give and take here. Way better. Yeah. That's why I'm so much like, this is way better than newborn for me. You know? So now sponsor streams our money for daycare. That's true. Is grandma excited or sad to not be daycare anymore? Honestly, the good news is this. The daycare we found, one of the things that Megan really wanted was the chance for it to be part-time daycare because Megan doesn't work a normal schedule and she wants to like, you know, she wants to go on her days off. Megan wants to, let's back everything up with extra iron rods and see what happens. On her days off, Megan wants to be able to hang out with Elle rather than have her still be paying for her to go to a place where, you know, when Megan misses her and wishes she could hang out with her. So we're going to have like 3 days a week daycare, and then grandma's still going to do a couple days, or at least a day. So yeah, I think grandma's mostly like, that'll be good for you guys, and I still will get to see her, so. Can't help but notice there are not a lot of iron rods here. Because we're just using so many for everything? Probably. Are they being delivered at the correct rate? This is not the correct rate of delivery. Drop-off's going to be rough the first week or so. I think you're right. We'll see. I don't know. I'm hopeful about it. It'll be a couple weeks before we start it, but I'm really hopeful about the idea that conveyors do have a... Oh, shit. Conveyors do have a speed to them. I'm so glad we found that. Otherwise, this factory would be struggling. Oh, that's a big win. Oh, that's a big win. Ryan said, if you don't laugh at my jokes, GTFO. Yeah, it's like either laugh at my jokes or pay rent. These are your options, baby. It shouldn't slow them down on the other side, right? Like, no, because I'm connected to a splitter, and the splitter won't slow it down. Passing through this will slow it. But over here, I believe I am asking for... Yeah, I think I have the ratio correct. Casually sipping on coffee as you fly through the air. We're doing it. Okay, so this should all be faster. Then I will need to upgrade. Do I need to upgrade over here? I think I'm doing 60 per minute again, right? Oh, there it is right there. The first faster bit. Let's go. Okay. So, modular frames are done. That's dope. They're going to be on the belt. I don't know where, but they're on the belt. Now I just need to do mergers facing that way. I'm missing iron rods. Well, isn't that ironic? I just gave them all away. Oh shit, that's still not working. What the heck? I thought I fixed it. Steven, thank you so much for the $5 tip. I'll put that towards the daycare fund. Steven, I just got to say, you've been so very, very, very generous recently, and I just want to say thank you. It does not go unnoticed. Thank you. We get some hearts in chat for the support. Thanks, Steven. Still doesn't read. Dream Donuts. I said paying rent. Wait, does that mean you don't laugh at my jokes, Steven? It's one or the other, Steven. You can either laugh at my jokes or you can pay rent. Do you not think I'm funny? All right, what lanes are unused? We got to figure out a better bus system here, but it's fine. We can always expand it. We're going to have to expand it eventually. What if we expand it now? If that was an actual rule, you'd be rolling in donations. If that was an actual rule, this website would be broken. Can we make the belt a little bit wider? I think we just send it. I'm in the mood for just making decisions. Can you tell? I'm like, is this the right decision? Who cares? I'm making a decision right now. We got to get stuff on the belt. We got to get stuff moving. Need to go one level higher than that, and we'll just chuck it right here. Technically, what we should do is throw it right here. Okay, right there. Done. Modular frames on the belt. That should be one full belt out, right? No, not even close. Oh, no. Is that 5 machines? It's 10 per minute. Oh, that's so slow. Oh, boy. And I don't think these are even running. We have to do 6 of these. 6 of what I just built to make one thing per minute. Oh, boy. All right, well. All right, what's next? We got modular frames on the thing. Encased steel beams. I've needed them a bunch of times. Let's do that next. Encased steel beams. Take concrete and steel, but at what rates? Concrete 36 per minute. Steel beams 18 per minute. My favorite thing about this game is that I just never have a single idea what you're doing. Somehow the more I watch, the less I comprehend. Somehow it doesn't matter. This is what happened during Dyson Sphere program too. 90% of the people who were here for it were like, Ryan, what the fuck is going on today? And I was like, don't worry. So a Dyson Sphere. The joke with Dyson Sphere was that people were like, oh yeah, you're playing the vacuum game. This is a game about building a big vacuum in space? Yeah, yeah. It is really funny to have like our loyal community. One might say the cult. Who's like, I have no idea what's going on here. And then the people who popped in from YouTube specifically, like, I have a great idea of what's happening here, and it's bad. It's bad. You're making me rage. Bye, Pristine Mallard. Thanks for being here. Ugh. You move so fast, all the machines look the same, so I know you're theoretically making things. I just don't know what. I think that's the best way to describe what I'm doing, is theoretically making things. Am I actually making stuff? Nah. What should we do here? 6 per minute? What is exactly the rate for 30 concrete per minute? Because that would be one way to do it. Would be go like 4.9 That would at least be a belt in. $4.97. Is it just 5? Oh, well, that's actually way easier. Underclocking is so necessary for this. That means one belt of concrete supports 2 machines. We should bring 2 belts of concrete in, 1 belt of steel beams in, and we will get a third of a belt of encased industrial beams, which is fine. We'll leave lots of space to make it bigger. So we need to do 4 machines. The goal is to make this all so that I can just make it bigger. We need 4 machines with plenty of room for in and out in the future. Let's go like here. Go like there. So, do that. Four machines. Surface is too uneven. Suck it. No, it's not. The machines look exactly the same. I'd be so lost if I tried to play this. Yeah. That was me during Phasmophobia last night. Why did I decide that dots was the most important thing to me? I don't know. I just did. Encased industrial beams, we need 5 per minute. We need to copy settings. Paste settings. Paste settings. Done. So from here, we need steel beams and we need concrete. So let's do it like we did the other one. Let's put a... Oh, I've decided basically against my blueprints at this point, unfortunately. Put this on our hotbar, and we'll just do blueprints by hand if we need to. Do. It's not in the dots, Ryan. That counts as dots, right? It's hard to know what dots looks like until you've seen it. I'm not here for the game. I'm here for the vibes. Here for the vibes. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Seriously. It's I don't know that I'll always do it or that I will want to do it, but it is a very I am very grateful that I can play games that I want to play without fear that they will not work for my audience. You know? Okay, so we need to do... This is concrete. Concrete's here. So that's concrete. That makes sense. Concrete is on one of these belts way over here. A couple of the belts way over here. I'm here for the shats. Oh, wow. Put this one right here. Nope, that's steel beams. Okay. But steel beams is also... It's good to know. Do both at the same time. Shit. I fell asleep 10 minutes after I sent that message about helping not to fall asleep. I was dead tired. Have we talked about this before? Chat, what do you like... What do you do to fall asleep at night? Like, do you watch stuff? Are you a psychopath who just, like, counts sheep? Like, what do you do? How do you fall asleep at night? In what way? I read? Oh, so you're just true. And I don't mean this with any sass. I mean this dead serious. What's it like to be better than me? What's it like to just be a better person than me? I close my eyes. Maybe I'm realizing all of you are better people than me. Wow. You close your eyes and it works? And you don't get bored? I watch stuff until I fall asleep, and I basically fall asleep against my will most nights. I put my head on my pillow, and on a good night, about a minute later, I'm asleep. I usually watch streams or YouTube. Yeah, same. Bored, lull? Don't lull at me. It varies. It depends on if I'm going through a depression period or not. I stay up late until I'm so tired that it happens on its own. I theoretically ingest some water vapor and chemicals that make me sleepy. Bro, I want to sleep, not activate my brain. Right, but I watch things that... This is why my kid is going to be an iPad kid, despite my best efforts. I watch things that put me in a sleepy mood, and then I fall asleep while watching them. And then the next day I do the math, like, where the hell was I in this thing? You know? Watch little indigestion VODs on YouTube, duh. I'm flattered. I'm very flattered. Wait, shit. Did I line these up? Oh, no. Did I fuck this up? I got things on the... It happened eventually, chat. I put things on the same belt. No. It's okay. We can just move this one. Okay, we'll just tear it down for now. I put something right where the concrete's supposed to go. I need a jetpack in this goddamn game. Thank you for the 100 bits, Steven. I just have the TV on playing Friends, but I only need the sound to fall asleep. I'm sort of in the opinion that, like, what works really well for me, first off, I try to exercise, and I tend to take a melatonin. Not always, but I tend to. If I'm exercising enough, I certainly don't need a melatonin. I fall asleep relatively quickly. I don't tend to have problems falling asleep. I'm very blessed. However, why I like watching something as I fall asleep is I feel like it puts my mind into like a grooved track is how it feels to me. Like I put my mind on like a rail cart, and it's not going to I'm not going to have any scary thoughts, right? Like I'm basically avoiding like thinking deeply, considering like our existence here. Like I'm avoiding all of the stuff that I will spend way too much time thinking about during the day. I think that's what it is for me, is like, because I'm basically just like avoiding deep thoughts. And sometimes they're there no matter what, right? Like sometimes I can't pay attention, sometimes to whatever, you know. Ah, shit. Having something to keep my thoughts in line really helps me fall asleep. Yeah, that's a great way to phrase it. That's how I feel, is like I'm just kind of keeping my thoughts like on a familiar track, you know? Just probably similar to the way that, like, you know, Rebs and other people are feeling, is like, you know, with friends. Just kind of keep my mind on a familiar track. I do take melatonin and smoke an indica plus CBD vape. Another thing that works well is watching a kind of boring video, not actually boring, but more like video essays or more informational, educational. Yeah, something that like drones on. Absolutely. I need to have something to think about, or else I'll be too bored to lay still. Yeah. I will say one of the really underrated things about exercise and frankly like working physical jobs, like I've worked a couple jobs in my life that were super physical and tiring. Super underrated part of jobs like that, ain't no trouble falling asleep at night, you know? Like that's the best part of it. He's like, nah, I'm just, you know, my body is too tired. That's a luxury. Can't tell if I've gone too far yet. No, right on the other side of this. I need friends to avoid the panic. Or sorry, for the comfort and to avoid the panic I tend to feel when my brain harasses me when I'm trying to sleep. Yeah. I gotta say, I definitely am like, I definitely have more of the, I definitely also just have more stress now that Elle is here. Like, I just have more stress and stressful things that I think about when I'm trying to fall asleep at night now. I guess it just goes to show how lucky I was beforehand, but I'm like, now it's just these what ifs that don't even make sense all the time. You know? What ifs or like, not even the like banal, like, oh shoot, I was gonna take the diaper trash can out and I forgot. More the like, or just the like larger what ifs. This might sound cheesy. I'm also more relaxed in the presence of my partner, so I fall asleep easier when we go to bed together. That's not cheesy at all. And that's love, baby. I will say I went to a bachelor party a couple weekends ago, you know, like a month ago at this point, and in the process, I shared a hotel room with one of my friends who I roomed with in college. And when doing that, I was like, oh wow, it's been for like we like fell asleep in the same room, but it was. No, I don't need that. I just remembered. I don't need that. But that was 10 years ago at this point. 11 years ago at this point. Like, what's changed? Bigger, small spoon? We had separate beds. Also, his husband was there, so it's like, you know. I think he was the small spoon, but in a different bed to a different person. But I will say, I walked away from that. You know, we shared the hotel room for the night. It was both like we like got in really late on an airplane, two separate airplanes. Like, needed a place to stay for one night. We were like, just get one hotel room with two beds. It's way cheaper. In fucking San Diego. You weren't the filling in that sandwich? No, I was not the filling in that sandwich. Would you have spooned if the husband hadn't been there? I have friends of mine that I would spoon with, dead serious, and have spooned with. 100%. He's not one of them. But the point of this story was I walked away from that encounter a little self-conscious because one of them read a Kindle to fall asleep at night, and I was like, okay. I mean, that's like a very normal thing. You know, I'm not sitting there judging. We're just like, I'm just noticing things as we fall asleep. Kindle to fall asleep at night. I was like, that's very admirable. This one is concrete, right? Yes. So that's very, very admirable. Very admirable. One's the concrete again. Needs to be just a little bit further. On the other hand, his husband just fell asleep like cold, you know, cold turkey. He raw dogged sleep. He just laid down. No podcast, no nothing. Just fell asleep. And I don't sleep like that. Like, I can if I need to, but I just don't want to. What I do is, like, I have my laptop. I'm watching YouTube. Usually it's, like, some sort of video game series on YouTube. And I lay on my back, and I set the computer on my chest. And it's plugged into the wall. And my face is, like, 12 inches from the screen. And that's how I fall asleep at night. And so I just went about my day and did that because that's, you know, that's what I'm used to. That's what my wife is used to. Like, that's what I do. And then my friend Jacob was like, you fall asleep like that? I was like, oh yeah. He was like, you are 3 inches from the screen. I was like, yeah. He was like, do your eyes hurt? No. No, they're good. Is the correct way to do this to like line it up this way? And I was like, okay, well, maybe it is a little weird, my habit of like, you know, like maybe it is a little weird to just have phone just like the computer just like setting on my chest. Why is that not lining up? There it is. Rhetorical? Yeah. No. That is a non-rhetorical question. Is it weird that I fall asleep? That's a non-rhetorical question. Is it weird that I fall asleep with my computer on my chest? If this doesn't fucking work, I swear to God. You have a light on while you use the laptop? Nah, just the laptop. On the lowest possible brightness on very low volume. It feels weird to me, but you do you. You would judge me if we slept in the bed like that, if we slept in a hotel room like that, in opposite beds? Hear me out. It's just like, I can't sleep like some people watch stuff on, like Meg watches stuff on her iPad, and she'll like turn on her side and have one ear pressed into the pillow, and she'll like watch it. But I'm like, the thing is sideways, and I can only use one ear, so I can't really hear anything. So that isn't like a, you know. If this doesn't work because of this other belt, I'm gonna vomit. I would probably say something like, "Are you okay?" Well, it's yellow because of the thing. I'm gonna vomit. It's yellow because of the other thing, which I think means that it doesn't know what to hook up to, which makes me angry. It's still yellow. Why the fuck is it still yellow? I'm gonna have to guess. Cool. Love it. I hate that that's not a better system, but I need to get my brain around it. It's just not gonna be straight. Just not gonna be straight. Bye, Rebs. We love you as well. No, you're good. I hope your back feels better. Okay. That works. Now we can do the one above it the same way. What do you mean? Is this just gonna break my whole system? No. Oh, it does show you what it is messing with. Oh, interesting. So it does show you, it outlines what it is overlapping with. I just need to delete this for a second. Put this down. Okay. So I think as long as I place this first, we'll be okay. This is convincing me that I shouldn't do a bus. Okay, I think this will work. I was always taught that using a screen so big, so close in the dark would obliterate your eyes, so I would never try it. Yeah, I am curious about that. We were talking, somebody mentioned this in the Discord the other day. How accurate do you think it is that whole thing about like, that we were taught as kids about like, don't sit so close to the TV screen? I've heard it's not true. I hope it ain't true. Otherwise, I'm screwed. It ain't perfect, but it works. I do that. My eyes have been obliterated. My eyes are fucked anyway. I don't think it's accurate. Do you use a filter so you don't have blue light? I do not. And I honestly don't have... I will say, I can find it hard to fall asleep a little bit if I have been at this computer for too long. But my laptop, I don't really... I think it does the thing where it auto-changes its light output a little bit so that it's like a warmer, less blue light screen in the evening. Looking at a bright light in a dark room is exhausting to the eyes. Sure, but I don't care if my eyes are exhausted, just so long as they don't get obliterated. I'm exhausted. My eyes should be too. Exhausted? That's par for the course here. I mean, the problem is do I need to change my prescription? I'm joking, but that's also 100% how I feel. I'm like, do I care about... Not really. Should I? Probably, but like my level of concern is mostly, do I... Okay, we need to change you. We need to delete you. Go out to here. Put you out here, because we've made our belt bigger. Our bust bigger. Eventually, we're gonna have a power problem, and I can't wait for that day. It was CRT screens that the problem was on. You shouldn't be like 8 inches or so away from a CRT screen. Why though? That makes sense to me, and a little bit, but like I wonder why. Like, what is it about a CRT display that is different for your eyes? You know. Can irritate the eyes, but no long-term damage. The flickering of the screen. Okay. Looking at a screen in a dark room is bad, though. I've heard this. The only reason I've heard that, though, is that meme about Tins, the Valorant player, where he's on stream with his girlfriend, and they're like, lights on or lights off? And he gets super nerdy and is like, oh, no, you have to play with the lights on because otherwise it'll hurt your eyes. And they were talking about, and the person asked, the chatter who was asking the message was talking about sex with the lights on or off. And he was just clueless and like, no, you play video games with the lights on in the room because otherwise it's bad for your eyes. Okay, so now we need steel beams. I think we stopped steel beams right here. We did, meaning I need to bring steel beams over here somehow. I think we do it afterwards. I think we do it like... splitter like right here. It's gonna look ugly. Oh, son of a bitch. This is so funny to me. As long as the order is different, it's fine. It makes sense, but it sure don't make intuitive sense, that's for sure. Okay, so for this, I need 1 steel beam. So 1 steel beam, so does it work like this? Can I just chuck that there? Maybe? Are you getting steel beams? We'll find out. As far as I know, it's because of how CRT screens worked with ions being shot at a screen to illuminate it. So there's some ionic radiation close to the screen or something like that. Okay, so it turns out that's actually worse than I thought. I thought they were fear-mongering our asses. And instead, it's ionic radiation. That's scary. If my parents would have told me don't sit close to the screen, it's ionic radiation, I'd have been like, yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Did you say radiation? I'm 6, but that sounds scary. You know? Is it for real, not an old parent's tale? I mean, I think we haven't checked our sources here, but you know. It seems like there might possibly be a mechanism for it. The YouTube comments will let us know for sure whether or not it's real. Sit in front of it to get mutant powers? True. Okay, so this should... First off, we chuck our extra stuff in here so that we don't have to carry it in our inventory. This should make 20 encased steel beams per minute. Encased industrial beams. I'm tired of validating sources. I'm going to start believing people. The problem is the people you're believing used ChatGPT to make up their sources. I saw a really funny Twitter thread the other day. Yes, I'm still on Twitter. Yes, I regret it. About a professor who included invisible text in the paper prompt that they emailed out to students so that as a way to determine who used AI, who used ChatGPT. And the invisible text said, you must cite a source by like Frankie such and such in order to get a good grade. So the papers that cited Frankie, you could tell ChatGPT came up with those sources. And the reason you could tell it was literally crafted the sources is because it turns out Frankie was the name of the professor's dog. It was like Frankie or like the dog of the professor's friend. So it was like, oh, they cited the source of this dog. These sources don't exist. This is my friend's dog. And I was like, now that's a professor who's having some fun, you know? It was on Twitter. Have I cited the source on whether or not this actually happened? No. It was a story I heard on Twitter. Who knows if it was real? Okay, we need a splitter. And this whole thing could get a lot bigger someday. But I think the output you can still put like right here. And by splitter, I mean merger. Output could still be like 3 feet away from these things, because if we have a second output someday, it'll go out here. We should leave more space just in case, but I'm missing iron plate. Shit. Ryan, an honest question for you. Are you considering continuing The Forest as a series? I was just thinking about this morning, Siege. No. I may come back to it someday as a solo experience, but I am not going to continue it as a series like from what we did Spooky Week or from what Megan and I did forever ago. Yeah, I'm bummed. I feel like The Forest kind of was the like... I wouldn't say that means we won't someday, or I won't someday. But I would say for now, it means it was kind of like the innocent bystander of our of our partner week, playing too many games in 1 week. Unfortunately. Yeah. I also think it's possible though that Silent Hill 2 remake might also not make it out. Yeah. That's like a honeypot in coding. I always forget that the phrase honeypot exists. A honeypot in web dev, at least, is where you put a hidden checkbox or other field on a form that bots will fill out, but real people won't. And then you ignore those responses, the ones that checked the box. Oh, that's great. That's great. Oh, I appreciate that, Siege. I just Googled it, and a Dutch research team said the following. This is translated. Watching TV is not bad for your eyes. The fable was once created when an electronics manufacturer in the United States introduced television in the 1960s that emitted 100,000 times more electrical radiation than was legally permitted. I have two things to say. Of course, our parents were scared, And of course, it was a United States electronics manufacturer. That's funny. Ryan, how do you feel about puzzle games? I'd like to recommend a game to you based on your enjoyment of Soma. I know puzzlers aren't really your usual fare for your streams or videos. They may not be my usual fare in some ways, but I'm very open to the idea of puzzle games. And we have played a couple. I'm not super aware of the like puzzle game genre, but we have played The Room, and I want to play The Room too. I need to get on that, which I really enjoyed recently. That was on stream, and the puzzles as parts of some other games I've really loved. So I mean, I don't know if that counts. I don't know that they were puzzle games necessarily, but what game are you thinking? Squelf, thank you very much for the follow. Thank you. Okay. In case industrial beams are on the thing, we need to turn 50 in to finish this milestone, and I'm going to just do that right now because we should have 50 any second here. Portal, that's right. Does Portal count as a puzzle game? I don't really. This is the thing with genre, is that I'm still like relatively new to the, the video gaming world. So I never understand what JRPG means. I never understand what, I know now what it means, but like, I know what it stands for. I don't know what it means necessarily. But game genres are always so vague as to what they encapsulate. It is true that I think maybe that's, Clampery, you've just given me a great idea, or at least a lot to think about. Maybe that's what I struggle with games and genres specifically, is that like, it's possible games are just like, by the nature of what they are, and like multi-medium, but like by their nature, maybe they defy categorization a little bit better than like other types of media in which genre, like a game can be 5 minutes long, it can be 500 hours long, right? Like a game can be played on a number of different consoles. Like the experience is just greatly different. Ooh, this is the new thesis I'm trying out. I like this idea. In that case, I'd love to see you play Talos or Talos Principle and its sequel. The writing and dialogue are too good for you not to cover them without spoiling anything. Their stories are extremely philosophical. And you know what's interesting about that, Twisted Hammer, is I'm starting to like more philosophical games a lot more than I thought I'm starting to realize philosophical games might sort of be my genre. Interesting. Stories are extremely philosophical, involve interactive Socratic dialogue as a regular gameplay mechanic between puzzles. Interesting. I've heard Talos Principle a good amount as a recommendation. It's time for the big red button, chat. It's always so special when you get to hit the big red button. Launch this shit.
Milestone reached. After several pioneers started exhibiting traumatic responses to power blackouts, FICSIT developed mitigation tools recommended by your local therapist. Power storages can hold excess power to delay or prevent blackouts in the eventuality that your factory's power consumption exceeds production. To simplify, these are rechargeable batteries. Power towers carry power lines for significantly greater distances than poles, facilitating factory expansion and exploitation of this environment for the good of FICSIT and humanity.
Why did that surprise you? That seems right up your alley. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it surprised me necessarily. It's just that, like, I thought maybe, I think part of it, oh yeah, I need to wait 5 minutes. I think part of it is that I guess the thing I'm a little bit surprised by, I figured that I would maybe like the chance to like engage in the games that are willing to sort of say something and spend time on more philosophical matters and engage with it. I guess the thing I would say I'm surprised by is that they might do well on YouTube. Like they might do well as like entertaining content, is me sitting there being like, oh, but are our futures really determined for us, or do we have some control? Like, I guess that's what I'm saying is like, I obviously like that stuff. I have a lot of interest in it, but I didn't ever think that that would be a thing I could play on YouTube and that people would be like, do more of that. Pause the game more. Talk about it. And I'm like, because that's a little antithetical to some other, you know, other types of games, I guess. People are like, shut up. Let them talk. Stop yapping. What are we launching? So the way this you progress in this game is you launch, you basically research certain topics, and the way that you do that is by launching materials. So in the upper right-hand corner, I have some milestone is stuff I launch. Objective is stuff that I send up this space elevator. So currently, I'm going to launch a bunch of encased industrial beams and steel pipes, or whatever it's called, and copper sheet, and that's going to give me the availability to make hypertubes, which are like teleportation. It looks like they're teleportation things. Where is the steel? It's used in the making of these, right? No, used in the making of... Oh, do I not have that automated? Shit, I don't have it automated. Fuck. Music is the same way. I'll listen to 10 extremely distinct songs, and Spotify will call it all indie and clock out. Ooh, that's funny. Music similar. Ooh, I don't know. That's interesting. Could be. The thing about music is that, and somebody else is a bigger expert on this than me for sure. I feel like the thing with music is that it can be, or it's like sort of susceptible to formula in a way that other genre or other mediums might not be as much. I could be totally wrong here. I think this is actually made in a constructor. You know, like verse chorus type vibe, or whatever the actual order is there. Have I not made these? I swear to God, maybe I have. Let me double check. But I don't know. I mean, I do think that doesn't like particularly. But to me, the same way that like reading a sci-fi novel is a wildly different experience based on what the topic is, what the author is doing with it. Is it 100 pages long, 500 pages long? Is it first person? Is it like highly technical? Is it more jaunty, more fun? You know, like to me, the genre is still sci-fi there because there's like a formula, like the sci-fi genre formula for a book. I would say is like exaggerates or extrapolates technology to a point where it can raise questions about like a certain list of broad topics. That's what I would call the genre delineation with a novel, at least that specific genre. I do really struggle with like certain genres in music I'm completely confused by. What makes indie music indie music? I fucking know. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Not a damn thing. I also am generally, and have been very vocal about this, I am generally, genre tends to be one of my least favorite ways to talk about literally anything. I recognize it as a sometimes useful categorization tool and a generally non-interesting categorization tool. So like, you won't find me to be a defendant of this system. No way. I always assumed indie was an artist, not from a giant label. I think I share that assumption, but I'm also like, maybe this is just reiterating the problem we have talked about in the past with like indie as a genre or like indie as a label. We talked about it with video games. I think like similar vibes with like I'm not convinced indie is a genre at all. It's more of a classification of the process. Yeah, I would call it more of a label like that. Yeah, for sure. Do you ever do an end of playthrough best of or self-react or summary? Ooh. Oh, I did make it. It's right here. And then I deleted it from the belt. That's right. I forgot. Okay, we're going to add this back on the belt first before we do anything else because otherwise I will forget about it. It's here. I deleted it. That's right. Kind of like how anime isn't a genre of animation. Yeah, that makes sense. Steven, what do you mean by, like, can you give me an example of, like, a... Mostly what we do at the end of a playthrough is we'll do, like, we'll, like, get lore answers for some stuff. Or we'll do, like, letting the community finally tell me the thing they've been dying to tell me. Or, like, help me find the secrets. And I tend to, like, give overall bigger thoughts on that stuff during those moments, but... Okay, we need to check what... This is the 6th slot. Let's see if the 6th slot is busy. But I don't know if that matches what you mean or... Okay, 6th slot is taken. What about the 7th? Is the 7th taken? Sure looks like it. 7th is taken. Okay, what about the 8th? Oh my god, I think we did actually fill this whole thing up. Holy shit. I can tear this down. I can tear this down. It's the same as young adult used as a book genre, even though it's not a genre at all. I don't know if other people are... I guess, I don't know. I don't think that I tend to use YA as a genre classification or... indie for that matter most of the time. Like, definitely not YA though. YA is just like, what audience is this made with ideally in mind is how I think of it. But print these coupons and tear this thing down. But I do think sometimes maybe there's some bleed over in terms of like YA is definitely used as a genre, unfortunately. What do you mean? Like where? Like in a library? Like what do you mean? You're forgetting the M and the C. YMCA. Andy can fucking suck it. That's not gonna make sense to anybody watching this on YouTube. On social media? Is it possible what we're talking about here is just that some people are misappropriating the word genre? Like, I think maybe that is maybe what's happening. I fell down my stairs. Oh, no. I hope you're okay. But also, like, what? Oh, man, I don't know. Genre stuff is so... generally frustrating to me. Okay, let's just double check lane 1. It was lane 1 not being used because this is the one place it might not be used. 1 or 12, whatever you want to call it. That sounded so sarcastic. Oh, on my part? No, I meant it seriously. I hope you're okay. Seriously. Lane 1 is used by Cole. So I think everything's used. I guess the thing I'm saying is, like, if YA is being misused as a, like, label for genre on TikTok, right? Is that really, like... How do I phrase this? Is that really like... I don't know how to phrase this. To me, a part of me views that as like calling fat-free milk skim or something like that. Like, oh, well, that's just people using a word, like they're not using the word correctly, but they are getting across what they need to get across. So then it's like, are they using it incorrectly if they are getting across what they need to get across? Does that make sense? Like, are they using the term against what it means, or like incorrectly or non-exactly? Maybe. But if they are communicating what they are hoping to communicate, then they are using language correctly, right? I would argue. To be very clear, I would argue that. Not everyone would argue that. I am in the camp of like language is not an exact, like language is not a universal law you agree with when you agree to the terms and services of when you agree to use it. It is a constant wrestling battle, a constant wrestle between like what is using language correctly. I don't know, getting across what you are hoping to get across. Like YA might not be actually a genre, but if the idea is that it is being used to communicate to people that this is in the group of books that is often aimed at a certain age group or has certain characteristics, then like that might not be genre specifically, but like we generally know what it means, or like we get what it means, right? Now, the next question is like, is that a problem? It could be, absolutely. I can think of ways that would be hugely problematic. Would I rewrite the system in exactly that way given the chance to rewrite it? Probably not, but I don't know. Like literally when they don't mean literally. I mean, some stuff like Sarah J. Maas's books have been mislabeled as YA because of this stuff, and she writes pretty explicit stuff. Gotcha. Purple Flowered Maddie has a broken wrist. Oh my god, I thought you meant you fell down the stairs just a couple minutes ago. You fell down the stairs recently? Like, I hope you're okay. Broken wrist, are you in a cast? That's why in library science we have thesauri and authorities from orgs like the Library of Congress. And this is why the Dewey Decimal System, I'm a fan, just to be fair. The French have an entire governmental entity that describes how the language is used and what words are allowed. Siege, one of my favorite subplots in a book that I've read is about a shoot. Let me make sure I get the name of it correct. Is about a fictional organization called the Militant Grammarians of Massachusetts, who they are fictional, but hold a very different opinion of language and grammar than I do. The fictional grammarian, the Militant Grammarians of Massachusetts. The idea being they're a group of people so incensed about the correct way to employ grammar and use language that oh, it's so good. Anyways, I think we're gonna move our bus out a little bit because I think let me double check over here that it isn't a problem. I've got a cast? Dang. It's been used as a description of vibes rather than age appropriateness. A lot of people are asking for spice in YA books. Gotcha.